Someone said to me recently, saw my bag, got my backpack on, and they were like, "You look like you've got a parachute." So I'm jumping on your f***ing deal, that's what it is. So today is the planning decision of Phase 1 Volume Hanley. So if you don't know what Volume Hanley is a student accommodation scheme located, it's probably about a 5-minute-ish walk from Aston University, which backs onto BCU University and Birmingham City University as well. So it's a great location. The site's an industrial building at the moment. It's worse for wear, it's unoccupied, it needs to go. So Phase 1 is in planning. It's going to the planning committees today for a decision. Hopefully we get approval. So Phase 1 is looking at 47 studios at the moment. We're hoping to get 60, but we've been knocked back, so we're in for 47. It's been recommended for approval by the planning officer, so the planning committee has to give it the go-ahead. So these are a group of councillors that have been elected to the planning committee, and they decide whether or not a major application is approved. So this is classed as a major application because of the size of it. Hopefully we get the result. We're already working on Phase 2, so that will see it as a up to 200 beds. We'll see where we can go. It all depends on the height. So right now I'm going to the planning office to sit in for the first time on one of my planning application decisions. I think I've got to be there. I think this one's hasn't been the most straightforward. So I almost feel like I need to be a part of the vibe and a part of the process. We're early, which is good. Just finished a meeting with a chap from our property magazine. He runs a property magazine, so he just wanted to find out a bit more about the projects I'm working on, and particularly Birmingham's first co-living scheme that we're hoping to deliver in the next 18 months to 2 years. So we're in the pre-planning stages at the moment. Had a great meeting with the architect yesterday. The design is looking really good, and the amenity space is going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to that one, and the architects seem really excited about that as well. It's quite early on the design side, but we've got an idea of what it's going to look like. Man, we need to get that through. Birmingham needs it. Birmingham needs that. So anyone can go into a planning committee to see a decision being made regarding any application. That's anywhere across the UK, or England at least. So I'm just exercising my right to do that. Never been to one. I'm probably not going to go to another one unless I actually need to speak there. I mean, hopefully I won't even do that. Hopefully if I did need to speak anywhere, that would actually be the planning consultant. But we'll see. Got the key, yeah, see you in a bit. That wasn't embarrassing at all. Come to the wrong building. So I've been here before for meetings with the planning officers related to applications that I've had in, but the actual planning committee, the decision's not made here. I did not know that. It's Victoria Square. I always thought it was here. Well, that's a lesson. Yeah, that wasn't embarrassing. Because when I went to the reception, I was like, yeah, I'm here for the planning committee meeting. She looked at me like, huh? You've got glasses. She had those glasses. She looked over at her glasses like, that's Victoria Square. Oh. Sometimes in the Harbury. So I'm late for that. I'm not going to be able to make that, but it's filmed live anyway, so I can still see the live results. We're just going to go somewhere, hook up to a computer, get it on live, and see what happens, and I can do some work at the same time. Should I be worried that we're filming in one of my patches? Maybe, but most people don't do anything with it. And you know what, most people don't follow up. Follow-up is probably the biggest reason why I've been able to, and why I continue to do a bunch of deals, because I just follow up. I'm relentless. I don't think I've even got great sales skills. I don't think I've got a personality where people immediately warm to me. I don't even strive for that. But what I do have is a follow-up. That's the number one rule I'd say. Follow up. Don't be afraid to follow up. Do not want my windscreen washed. So I've parked all the way over here. You just dropped your pound, love. Love, you just dropped the pound. You dropped the money. You dropped it.
My money?
It's over there.
Yeah.
By the white car, look. You dropped it.
My money?
Yeah, look.
Thank you very much.
I just helped you out.
Yes.
I don't think I've got any change I normally give. Oh, sorry, I've got to go. Really sorry. Bye. Jeez. Helped her out. Just asked me for more change. She dropped the money dropped, and then she went back to the driver and said, "Where's the money gone, Jen?" But I think it might have been genuine actually. Alright, we've got to speed up a bit now because don't want to miss the decision. it's going to be a while before I find out. That's going to hurt. Maybe a whole day before I can actually find out what the decision was. I don't want to be in that position.
We should note this is only a scheme for 47 student studios. It's a relatively small scheme in comparison to other developments that we've had recently. And I acknowledge it's a little bit further out than some of the universities we, as officers, consider still within walking distance.
It's 5 minute
Still
walk.
within close proximity, and there is other student accommodation near to where this unit is being proposed, as noted in the report.
But I do think we do need to probably look at the student needs assessment issue, because certainly I'm aware anecdotally that actually some of the Purpose Built Student Accommodation in the city centre is struggling to find students already, particularly around Stanleyford Street, given its proximity to Aston University. And if they're struggling to fill their halls and we're building more within the city centre, I think we're at a situation where this bubble may burst. We'll have lots of brand new purpose-built accommodation in the city centre sat empty, especially when we have a housing crisis.
Those against and abstentions. So that is approved.
Well, I'm going to have more toast. That was touch and go there, but it's been approved. Thank God for that. So some of the comments that were being made, I don't agree with. So we created a student needs assessment for this report. That student needs assessment outlines what demand there is in the city for student accommodation. They're saying that they don't agree with the figures. But it's funny that, because those figures are taken from HSE, which is a government body. Those figures are also taken from a report that was provided by CBRE, which is a very large property consultancy. So that report was provided in conjunction with statistics from them. And the report is about 2 years old now. They've taken that long to consider this application, that the figures that they're going by is wrong. So the fact that they disagree with the student needs assessment, I can see to some extent, but the figures are correct. They were just based on what was relevant and what was available at the time. But because they took such a long time to consider the application, those figures are clearly old now, and the market's changed. There's additional beds in the city centre, so there's less of a demand for student accommodation, but there still is some undersupply, and therefore this accommodation is more than needed. And bizarrely, what I find the most bizarre is that they were saying that this accommodation is far out from the university. I couldn't believe them in my head. I think a few of them were actually deciding on that. It's about a 5-ish, maybe pushing 6-minute walk from the university. How close do you need it? There's a big scheme that's being built pretty much next door, which is 500 beds, which is also just a few minutes walk. So the fact they're saying it's far from the university is beyond me. And then they were disputing the fact about the universities that are local. They were saying that there's just 2 universities that are walking distance, when in fact there's 3 that are walking distance. So you've got BCU, Aston University, and UCB or UCE. But they've approved it, which is a good thing. But it's interesting how they view that. Horrible that was. That was horrible. It's not nice. It feels like some, when something's resting in somebody else's hands, it's uncomfortable. So you've got to be so prepared and have such a good application, because it may not go your way, even when it's been recommended for approval. Fortunately, we've got planning. It's number 1. So obviously that's gone up. Just like that land has gone up significantly in value. Just like that. I'd click properly, but my fingers sliced. Are you student? Are you working full time?
No, just working full time.
So what did you do before that?
I used to work at Pro Games, and I was...
What's that?
It's a food
place. They sort of send food to you?
Yeah. So it's a healthy regime, and we used to have orders in, and I did the customer service and all that.
What made you move into this?
I just like the people and the atmosphere. It was pretty boring doing what I was doing.
Maybe there's a chance there, because look, what I'm doing is I'm building student accommodation and residential apartment complexes, and we need staff on site. So maybe you're a good person at some point to talk to.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Well, what's your name?
Lydia.
Anthony, look, check out the YouTube.
Yes. What is your YouTube name?
Anthony, ANTHNY, LABILLE. We've only got a few hundred subscribers at the moment. You're going to help.
Am I going to help?
I hope so. Need more. Did you spot us filming or something over there?
Well, I didn't. I actually was working. It was Amina and I was like, there's film crew. I'm like,
Film crew?
where?
There's a whole crew.
And then I spotted this fluffy microphone.
Okay. Put it in your beard then, I saw that. Yeah. I saw that as well. Apparently we've got a film crew. Sounds good, doesn't it? In reality it's slightly different. It's a weird guy with a camera. Hopefully we just earned ourselves a new subscriber there. Really hope so. Worked hard for that. When it comes to like getting these buildings operational, we need to start recruiting people. Maybe we should just go around like trying to pinch hotel staff. Oh, tell me there's parking here. People are parking outside. Does that mean there's no parking? So it's, I'm starting to put myself in a unique position, I think, where people reach out to me, and it's good because you get more of an idea of what's going on out there, and in effect get more opportunities coming to you, and life is a lot easier. It's nice not having to go look for a certain service or something that you're in need of. That person or that group of people, someone from that sector has already reached out, and you can just respond to them basically. Everyone's on Instagram pretty much, and Facebook. Don't be fooled, people are watching, whether that's landlords, investors, owners, partners. They're on these platforms and they can readily access them, so it's good to post out what you're doing. So more content, more just showing what I'm doing. I'm doing it anyway, so the more that people are aware of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, the more opportunities are going to come to me. I think that can be applied, I know that can be applied to any field, and the fact that I can put this message out to people on YouTube and Instagram and potentially reach thousands of people. I don't even have a large following right now. I've got a very small following, but yet thousands of people are still saying it, and then a tiny percentage reach out. Very tiny, but it's good enough. Anyway, got this meeting to get into. Yeah, just had my meeting with an investor developer that reached out to me on Instagram actually. He saw some of what I was posting, so it was good to catch up with him. Anyway, well, I'm just glad we got planning permission, but I still can't get over how they were saying it was far from the uni. I've got a problem with student accommodation, or the amount of student accommodation coming up. There's a demand, though, and I think student needs choice. And look, there's not a demand for, another 100,000 beds, but there's certainly a few thousand short. I don't think anyone's in a position to say that students shouldn't have choice. Students should be able to have a choice. If that means some accommodation that isn't priced quite right, or isn't in a great condition or great location, they're struggling, then I think that's a developer problem. I think we should always be striving to provide better accommodation, whether that's residential or student accommodation. And if they want more residential accommodation, then it's a good idea to try and make it easier and improve the planning process so people can do it, because the amount of information that needs to be supplied and the cost of that can be quite prohibitive for some. It takes big money and big balls. It's another one though.